So, I stuck on this island, in the middle of the ocean, without any meaning of getting away. Normal people call it vacation. On me, I only had Remnant 2, so I played it an outrageous amount of time, going through it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. So, why not raid the most important part of the game, which is of course weapons. I mean bosses. Yeah, definitely bosses. I'm going to rank these bosses based on my subjective opinion on how fun it was for me to defeat these bosses. So, it's being too easy or too difficult definitely plays part into it, but it's not the most important thing. The ranking would be S, A, B, C, D, and P for the piece of shit. And lastly, I would rank them on the Apocalypse difficulty, since by the end of the game, on regular, you can simply go through every boss without a second thought. And what is the better place to start than the tutorial boss? Well, it's not the most thrilling one, it's just a glorified elite mob, but it's doing its job by showing you the ropes. The hardest part about it is probably the ammo reserves. Since it's just the very beginning of the game, your damage output is pathetic, so you can easily run out of bullets before it's dead. D tier. And the first real world, the root. And the very first boss is Abomination. Abomination is a blob of flesh, I guess? But at least it's intelligent enough to cover its sides. It does have a cheap shot, belly flop, that could actually one-shot you, but otherwise it's not possessing any threat. Moreover, if you already have a Firestorm, it will be even easier, just because Abomination cannot escape it. D tier. AD Alpha. Well, not very alpha if you ask me. It's just a bossified version of a ball-shaped robot that constantly summons small droids to bother you. And to be fair, these drones are actually more dangerous than Alpha itself, but overall, nothing special. D tier. Astropath. Now, this one is good. Astropath does have several different attack patterns. It can attack you personally, by charging waves of energy for you to dodge, or by summoning clones. Anyway, it was really fun, so I will give it an A tier. Custodian I. This one is also great. You constantly need to pay attention to what exactly is going on around you, as I itself is not very original, it just shoots laser beam, that's it. But the arena itself, on the other hand, is constantly changing, which could lead to drastic changes of the battle in any second. For example, you can think that you are safe, only to find out that you are actually standing in an open space. A tier. Janitor. Janitor is an interesting boss, but there's so much stuff around you need to pay attention to. Facehuggers jumping around, adding to your encumbrance, flying bugs will shoot their snot into you, and the janitor itself. It will try to hug you and inject you with its love. The problem is, nothing of it is doing any damage, which makes this fight extremely easy one. B tier, just because it's still fun. Vault of Formless. Not an actual boss per se, but it is at the end of a dungeon, so it counts. You just need to go through the room killing everything that's in front of you. Mindless fun at its best, and overall atmosphere is kinda epic. At the end there will be another small abomination with all the same weaknesses. So, C tier. Restless Spirit. This is peak of laziness. It's not just a glorified elite mob, no, it's just a glorified regular mob. No new attacks, no new patterns, just more damage and health. In my run, I also got a minion modifier, which only added to overall feel of fighting a regular mob. P tier. The Progeny. Same thing, nothing new about this one, why is it even a boss? P tier. Fetid Corpse. I'm starting to see a pattern here. WD-40. This one is also just a regular mob made into a boss, but at least this one opened pods with additional robots around, and you can use it to gain some additional loot. D tier. Train. Another run and gun level. The whole train is filled with robots, and the conductor really wants to know who will be the last one standing, you or robots. At the end there will be another alpha, who's actually even more better than the previous one. C tier. And finally the world bosses. This should be good, right? Shahala. Shahala is an absolutely epic boss. There are so many different attacks, most of them pretty fair, but there are still a few that are
failing my assholes.
Quite literally, from time to time Shahala will try to fist you so hard that no amount of armor will save your virginity. Secondly, a black hole. This one will not only kill you instantly if you're not lucky enough, even if you dodge it, it will still try to suck you in. What I'm trying to say is that this boss is quite hard. But the music, ooh, This one steals the show. Overall, this is the first S tier boss. Everything is perfect. Shahala also have alternative version, but for some reason alternative version of Shahala is actually easier. Yet it still keeps constantly killing me right at the very end just because of the spiteful trait. And generally it's not as grand as its normal counterpart. So B tier? Talrata, second world boss. A giant kung fu hustle toad. In its normal form kinda too straightforward. Too slow to possess real threat, but it could still kill you if you just stand there. C tier. Now this one's odd. First you allow him to eat you, and then you destroy him from the inside? That's rude. But the fight itself is much better. This is what I'm talking about. Arena is much more bigger. Talrata himself is much faster. His attacks are deadlier, especially when he starts to throw some kind of lights. And even though music is not as great as Shahala's, it's still an epic fight. A tier. After the first world you always got Labyrinth, and the first boss in Labyrinth is Bastion. It's just an elite made into a boss again, but this fight is around the hole and I got Vortex modifier, so it was somewhat fun. D tier. In the middle of the Labyrinth you will have the fight with Summoning Cube, I guess? It's run and gun fight, just kill everything it will throw at you. At the end there will be a smaller Bastion, but at least it's more dynamic than just the Bastion alone. C tier. Cube. Cube is more of a puzzle than a fight. Just need to find out the correct pattern to destroy all the parts of it. First time usually causes unstoppable burn in the ass. But once you understand the pattern, it's not that hard. C tier. Next one, Yaesha. And the first boss here is actually a double package. Again, just regular mobs turned into mini bosses, but at least it's two of them, so it does force you to be more strategic about it. D tier. Entropy. I couldn't get it. No matter how many times I tried, it never appeared on Apocalypse difficulty. So I just gave up, but generally it's just another lead to the boss, so I guess D tier. Chimney. A run and gun where you need to time your descent accordingly so you wouldn't fry yourself with lightning. No one is waiting for you at the bottom, so that's kinda disappointing, but overall not bad. C tier. Uncle Fester. Probably the worst boss in the whole Yaesha, if not the whole game. It's a slow-moving mob with no distant attacks. The only trouble I had with it was Minions modifier that constantly summoned more mobs for me to kill, and actually they were more dangerous than the Uncle Fester himself. P tier. Kaola. You found an amulet and you pick it up as usual, only to be grabbed and forced to fight this boss. I mean, it's okay. It does have two different stages when attacking you personally or by releasing the Kraken. Solid boss, but nothing special. C tier. Legion. Legion was not impressed by my beam weapon, so I had to switch to an assault rifle. But besides that, it was fun fight. My biggest concern will be that there were too many mobs spawning around. Constantly. So I spent more time dealing with them than shooting at the boss. Which is annoying to say the least, but it's not an elite turned into a boss, so B tier. Mantigora. Should I even count it? For the most part, I'm not even sure it notices that we're actually having a fight. Most of the time you're just chasing around the level, which does sounds unique, but once again, it didn't notice you and not even fighting back. It just flies there. D tier. Old fart. Old goat stuck into a tree and I need to save it. Obviously, once you start to tear it down, all the mobs in the world will try to stop you. At the end, Defiler will appear, which sucks, as it's again just a regular mob turned into a boss. But whole fight is quite enjoyable, so I give it a C tier. Rot. It is actually the same guy you summon as the last summoner skill. So you kinda could experience yourself how to be on the receiving end of it. Not too hard, but nothing special also. C tier. Shrewd. This is very dangerous boss. But it's kinda odd one since he's an archer, but most deadliest attacks are actual melee. Huh. Go figure. But overall design of this battle is perfect. All transitions between stages are clean, and even though Shroud does have additional mobs for help, they're not annoying and not constantly spawning around you. Easily A tier. I wish more bosses were like this. Root Nexus. Remember the goat in the tree? Now this is the same thing, but this time there is no goat. And it's just in the middle of the map. It's not attacking you, and it does not fight back. It just sits there. Same deal as before. Once you start digging into it, the forest will try to give you a bad time. D tier. Wither. An elite turned into a boss. No new attacks or patterns, but you would need to defeat it for the quest, so at least there is some reason to fight it. D tier. This one is really annoying because of a bombardment attack. Direct hit will insta-kill you, but even if it doesn't, they will leave a puddle of a poison behind. And Mother really loves to put him on the path to another platforms. Hard? Yes, but somewhat unique, so I like it. B tier. The first world boss would be Corruptor. It is a giant jellyfish that is basically just standing there. Menacingly! All the dirty work is done by this guy. It's huge, it hits like a truck, and if you manage to get away from it, it will just jump right back at you. At first it looks like there is absolutely no reason for you to destroy it, but if you manage to do it, the jellyfish will try to revive it, and that's when you need to strike. Also, from time to time the jellyfish will fire a beam, but it is so telegraphed that you can pretty much always dodge it. Overall, B tier I guess. Alternative version? There is no alternative version. Ravager. Basically, this one also does not have an alternative version, but Ravager will provide you with the choice of fighting him or killing the doe. If you choose to fight with Ravager, it's quite straightforward. It is easy to learn his attack pattern, but right at the end he starts to attack you by Howl. And this attack is a cheap shot. It will kill you, so you would need to run away as soon as you see it. And if you delay even for a second, you are done for. First, Ravager would jump right next to you, but sometimes there is simply nowhere to run, which means that you will be simply dead, because of reasons, I don't know. That's really annoying, and because of that, that's a B tier. Losomn, the world where two realms collided. First boss here is Barghest. This where something is hiding in a pile of rubbish. You would need to go through a sewer system and dig it out for a fight. Other than that, pretty mediocre, C tier. Blood King. Alpha Gigachat version of regular Bloods, that's spewing smaller orbs to fight you. But really, you could just ignore them altogether and attack Blood King directly. Once in a while the Blood King will fire a laser beam, but it must probably just to push you down to regular blobs, which is the most annoying part of this boss. C tier. Burning Man. Some Dran decided to burn one of them for telling the truth. Nobody likes the truth. Your goal is to kill everyone, preferably before they burn the man. It's not half bad. B tier. Council. You would need to find who's the asshole among them. Once you get the dagger from the king's neck, you can present it to the council. All you need to do is just to give an correct answer to find them. Fight itself is nothing special, it's just 3 elite Nazguls at once. But overall, the quest and fight is great, so I'll give it an A tier. Magister Duelin. Somewhat annoying boss, and even though it had Skullcracker trait, most dangerous attacks was when he tossed dead bodies. Lastly, by the end he got Tongue Attack, which is guaranteed death. C tier. Executioner. Another elite to the boss. How many there were already? Nothing special here as well. D tier. Feast. Delusional man commanding you to eat. After that, you are tripping away and fight all the Fays in the castle. This fight also includes both regular versions of Executioner and Duelin. So, C tier? Firth, I guess. A Flaming Archer. This fight, once again, is overrun with additional mods. They just delay the inevitable. C tier. A mad woman throwing bombs at you. Whole stage is covered with flames, so you're either extra cautious or you got extreme fire resistance. Gwendol herself stands on top of a structure, so you cannot reach her by any means. Good things you have guns in these games, am I right? But I just got her with spears. B tier. Huntress, another roaming boss. She will be jumping around the level, chasing you or running away, depending on the situation. She is not that dangerous, but the chase itself is really fun. If she is not killed during the chase, after some time she just goes to sleep. It could be used to get to her dream with the Dreamweaver. But to be fair, both fights are pretty similar, so not much to add. A tier. Gorge. It's just a pig. I mean, it's not even a mob. Every time I found it, it barely possessed any threat. Basically, it could be removed and no one will notice. P tier. Red Prince. Damn, now this one is epic. Red Prince is heir for one true king. He will summon additional knights to fight you alongside with him, but for someone who claims to be the most powerful being, he likes to run away a lot. Since he is also an Nazgul in disguise, you would also need to think of something to prevent curses from spreading. From time to time he will also summon a fire circlet that narrows down to the middle for a very personal close combat. I like this boss a lot. I really like it. S tier, easily. Ripsaw. Speaking of a complete opposite, another mindless elite to the boss conversion. D tier, just for the entrance alone. Now for the world bosses. Night Weaver. This is absolutely perfect world boss. You are fighting a wraith who wants to eat your soul in the backyard cemetery of an asylum. How epic is that? She also got a surprise second stage, but honestly you can see it by the mile. In both stages her primary attack would be her claws, but from time to time she would also summon some ticks to bother you. And if at the first stage she will do it right in front of you, in the second one you would need to find her in an asylum first. This is really great boss fight. S tier. Unfortunately there is no alternative version for Night Weaver. Payne and Payne. The guy is delusional. First, he claims that he is the one who killed the true king, even though by now we know that one from the console did it. Secondly, Vivek here wants us to kill his second part. Good news is that there are different rewards for different versions you defeated. Bad news is that both Payne and Payne fights are absolutely the same. That's lazy. But still, A tier. And Lost Realm, Earth. The very first battle would be against all the root on the train station, who just happens to be there. Just another shoot 'em all. At the end there will be this ghost looking fella, and he is super annoying, because he got insta-kill attacks. C tier. Bane. Bane is a dream fight. First you would need to get a dream from his stump. Stupid, slow War of Worlds machine that does not do anything. Hardest part about this fight was that I need to fight 2 flying ghosts this time. Did I mention that this guy's annoying? C tier. Cancer. Despite its name, it's actually a tree. Not as big as an ant from the first game, but still quite big. He's attacking with roots and by jumping right on top of you, just like hot cougars around you. Call now. This fight is dynamic if nothing else. I will give it a B tier. Somewhere in the middle there will be a second mouse battle. This time you will have 2 tutorial boss by the end. It's okay, C tier. And last one before the final boss is Venom, and what the hell is this? This flying thing, again? That's just beyond lazy. I mean it's only 4 bosses in total on Earth, and this mob is used in at least 3 of them. Adding more one-hit attacks to this does not help. I hate it. I hate it with my guts. P tier. Annihilation, the final boss. And boy does it live up to expectations. Even on normal difficulty it's very dangerous. But on the Apocalypse, oh boy. It does not allow you to fool around. You either do it right or you will die. And you will die very fast and very painfully. Once I learned all its attacks and dodged all of them, it actually just gave up. Yeah, I'm not joking. He just stood there and took all of my attacks. I like to think that it's just because it was out of idea of what to do next because I dodged everything. But most probably it was just a glitch. Overall, this one is too hard. Yeah, I know, hard difficulty is too hard, yada yada. But I mean, it's hard because of it's too chaotic, and it's hard to understand what exactly is going on. Half of the attacks I was dodging just by sound because I couldn't see them. Still, very fun fight. A tier. So, here we go. That makes all the bosses and dungeon events in Remnant 2. And after going through all of this, I still think that the gameplay-wise this game is superior to the first one, but the story is still a mess. And I'm also glad I didn't miss anything important while I was playing Remnant on the island. Ah, shit.